Lieutenant General Sir Adrian Paul Ghislaine Carton de Wiart, VC, KBE, CB, CMG, DSO, known to some as the Unkillable Soldier, was born on the 5th of May 1880 to Belgian and Irish parents. He acquired the moniker of Unkillable because he lost an arm, was shot in the face, head, stomach, ankle, leg, hip and ear, was blinded in one eye, survived 2 plane crashes, tunnelled out of a prisoner of war camp, and even tore off his own fingers when a doctor refused to amputate them. In spite of all of these wounds, he still professed that he enjoyed war, and stated in his memoirs that while some argue that the pen is mightier than the sword, he knew which weapon he would prefer. Carton de Wiart abandoned his academic studies in order to join the army around 1899 in time for the Second Boer War. It was early in this conflict that he gained the first of his many wounds, namely to the stomach and groin, and was invalided home from South Africa. Following a period of recuperation, Carton de Wiart once more fought in South Africa before being transferred to British India until the outbreak of the First World War. At the start of the war, Carton de Wiart fought during the Somaliland campaign. It was during this part of the conflict that he was shot twice in the face, losing an eye and part of one of his ears in an assault on an enemy fort at Shimba-Beris. After this, he was transferred to combat on the Western Front. He was awarded with the Distinguished Service Order on the 15th of May 1915 for his actions in Africa. During combat on the Western Front, Carton de Wiart was wounded a further 7 times, including the loss of one of his hands in 1915. He fought and was injured in the battles of the Somme, Passchendaele, Arras and Cambrai. By war's end, Carton de Wiart held the rank of Temporary Brigadier General and commanded a brigade. Adrian Carton de Wiart was awarded the Victoria Cross at the age of 36 for his actions at La Boisselle on the 2nd/3rd of July 1916, whilst he was an acting Lieutenant Colonel in the 4th Dragoon Guards. During this attack, 3 other battalion commanders had become casualties, and Carton de Wiart assumed control of their forces. His leadership inspired his men to hold the ground they had taken despite the cost. He frequently exposed himself whilst organising the positions of his men and their supplies, passing unflinchingly through enemy fire and inspiring his troops. After the First World War ended, Carton de Wiart was sent to Poland as second-in-command of the British Poland military mission, before settling there for a while after his retirement from the army. However, Adrian Carton de Wiart's peace would be short-lived. Following the invasion of Poland by Nazi Germany and the Soviet Union, Carton de Wiart was forced to escape to Romania, but he was no longer safe there either. He managed to escape Romania using a fake passport in the nick of time, as pro-Allied Romanian Prime Minister Armand Calinescu was assassinated later that very day. Following this, Adrian Carton de Wiart was placed in command of a mission to occupy the town of Namsos in central Norway, before taking the city of Trondheim, 125 miles to the south. However, after the journey over the mountains, Carton de Wiart and his poorly equipped men were heavily shelled by German destroyers, without any of their own to reply, as the planned Allied naval attack on Trondheim did not take place. Stranded, Carton de Wiart recommended that his troops withdraw, but he was asked to hold his position for political reasons. Eventually, the full Allied force was withdrawn, but not without the loss of 2 destroyers. Carton de Wiart and his troops arrived safely at Scapa Flow in the Orkney Islands on the 5th of May 1940, his 60th birthday. However, his war did not end here. He was sent as part of a British mission to Yugoslavia as the country was under threat from invasion by Nazi Germany. On the way home from this mission, Carton de Wiart's plane crashed off the coast of the Italian-controlled Libya. Forced to swim ashore, he was quickly apprehended by Italian authorities and sent to Italy as a high-profile prisoner of war. Never content to sit around, he made 5 escape attempts during his captivity. one of which involved 7 months of tunnelling. After one successful escape, he spent 8 days on the run disguised as an Italian peasant. He did this despite not speaking a word of Italian and having very noticeable scars and wounds, including an eye patch and an empty sleeve from where his arm was amputated. In a strange development, Carton de Wiart was sent by the Italians to deliver a message to Allied contacts in Lisbon in an attempt to negotiate Italy's withdrawal from the war. He returned to England on the 28th of August, 1943. Carton de Wiart was sent for a tour of duty in Southeast Asia before being present for the Japanese surrender in Singapore. Later, he was sent to China as Winston Churchill's personal representative. This is because he believed that Carton de Wiart was a perfect man to work with Chinese Generalissimo Chiang Kai-shek. Carton de Wiart grew to love China and the Chinese people. He later reported on the actions of the Chinese Communist Party for the British government. He retired in October 1947 with the honorary rank of Lieutenant General. Lieutenant General Sir Adrian Paul Ghislaine Carton de Wiart died at the age of 83 on the 5th of June 1963.